incredibly sturdy. Oop. Ow. Hey everyone, it's Greg with Spotted Tongue Woodworking, and I'm going to build my first workbench. I've been woodworking for a couple of years now. I've been in the trades for a few years more than that, and I have not built a proper workbench before. This is going to be a play on the Paulk workbench, also the Maker workbench on Popular Woodworking, and it's an idea that has been brewing in my mind for a little bit. The idea for this workbench is something that is going to be lightweight, easy to build, easy to take apart, and extremely inexpensive. So I ended up with 3 sheets of 1/2 inch or 7/16 OSB and a couple 2x4s along with some glue, nails, and we'll see some screws. And we're going to end up with a workbench that I think is both at home in a workshop and on a job site. When I say cheap, the goal for this build is it is under $50 and just took just a couple hours to get materials and put together real quick, and it is something that I think will be very beneficial for a lot of people. To be fair, this is just a prototype for an idea that has been in my mind, so OSB might not be the best choice for from a long-term durability perspective, but it gets the job done and allows me to put something together and see as a proof of concept. So the top is a torsion box style, 2 sheets of OSB with the 2x4 sandwiched in between, and the gap is 3.5 inches. That will allow me to have tools in there without being too large, and will also allow me to stick 2x4s in there for accessories. I traced out the rough shape for the legs and use the track saw to cut them out, and then the jigsaw after that to cut out the inside corners. And the idea is, again, to be very lightweight, so it's going to be 2 pieces sandwiched together, much like the top, and that will be 2 sets of those for the base itself. And again, this is just a rough prototype for an idea that I had. Ideally, I would get a template cut out on the CNC and make sure everything is precisely correct and very nice. But what we're just going to do is we're going to cut out this first one and then use that as my template to trace out the next 3 pieces that I need to cut out. Probably the biggest downside of building my legs this way is that there is going to be a lot of waste. I want to keep the top part on that outside edge, so there's going to be a lot of funky pieces that are still left over from in between those legs. To ensure that everything is going to be flat and even, I just ran the legs through with the top along the fence and cut them exactly down to 29.5. So that brings me to legs being 29.5, my top being 4.5 inches thick, to bring my total to 34 inches, to be just under the height of the table saw if I want to use it as an outfeed table. You can see me using a Ryobi 16 gauge nailer. Yeah, it's not my favorite nailer. I don't like it at all. It doesn't set nails all the way. Problem being, it uses straight nails, and I had a whole bunch of straight nails. My Milwaukee nailer uses the angled nails, and I only had 2.5 inch angled nails. 2.5 inches would be poking through the ends, and I just didn't want to deal with sharp pointy parts every time I picked up the leg. There's not a whole lot that is pretty or fancy or amazing about this table other than the fact that it's going to be lightweight and very portable. But I also can't believe that this is actually the first purpose-built workbench that I've ever made. I have made tables and carts and things to be used, but never what I've intentionally said is a workbench that I want to use in my shop. A lot of the design elements are heavily inspired by the Paulk workbench, where you have the top and then you have a second layer to store all your things, but then it is also inspired by an article I saw on Popular Woodworking about the Maker Workbench, which is very much this design. This is a very close ripoff off of that concept, but the idea being that it's not going to be a workbench that exists only in a wood shop, but is a workbench that can exist in a workshop or on a job site. Can be taken apart, stored away, and used in a variety of places without being insufferably large or difficult or unwieldy to maneuver or move or work around. All told, there are 5 fundamental pieces of that: the top, 2 legs, and the 2 large stretcher pieces, held together with a few construction screws. So it'll come apart very quickly. As you can see, it's fairly lightweight and it's fairly sturdy. I'm not a very large person, but I think that is testament to the fact that this workbench can be used, and it can probably be used hard. And that's it. That is the $50 workbench. I'm amazed how solid for what it is. 3 sheets of 1/2 inch OSB and 2 2x4s and just a few screws. We come in just under $50 total. I'm amazed how sturdy it is. I've been working on it. I've been doing a lot of things on it. I really like having it. And what I'm excited for is this idea that, it's just a couple screws for the 2 stretchers and a couple screws holding the top on. Take the screws out, collapse it down. It's going to be 2x6, maybe a little bit over 2 with the legs, but it's going to fit in the back of a 6-foot bed pickup truck. It's super lightweight, very much along the lines of a Paulk job site workbench. I do, really have enjoyed working on those on various job sites. I wanted something that could probably be a little bit sturdier, a little more purpose-built for myself as a woodworker who does trim jobs rather than a trim guy who does some woodworking, if that makes any sense. And I think this really does fit the bill. What I'd like to do is, put a sacrificial top on here that's going to have, for drilling dog holes, get dog holes down the sides through there, maybe mount some pack outs, figure out how to mount a job site table saw there, and maybe mount a little router table there. Something to make this really a truly multifunctional table that can be quickly broken down, moved around, and used in a variety of places. That could be both at home, in a workshop, and on a job site. And this, I'm really happy. Will I build it again? Absolutely. But next time I build it, I would like to use, nicer, like true 1/2 inch plywood. Something that's gonna be a little more durable, something that I can put a finish on and make it really be a statement piece of something that is both functional and beautiful without being absorbently expensive or complicated to make. So I'm Greg with Spotted Tongue Woodworking, and this is my new workbench. And if you made it this far, thanks for putting up with me and for humoring me. Let me know in the comments below, is this a good idea or is this pretty stupid? I want to know. I think it's cool, but I would love to get some feedback on this design and maybe some ideas for how I can improve it in the future. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.